Moneymaker opens under the gun with pocket sevens. That's right on the margin, but deep stacked it works.
Ace-king for Chris Oliver. Blimey, he's got a legitimate hand.
Something we normally don't see.
Oliver, 2 seats over, 3 bets with ace-king offsuit. Against an early position open, that's completely standard. Ace-king is at the top of the non-pair range, and 3 betting applies pressure. Already you can see how the ranges are shaping up. Oliver is more top-heavy, Moneymaker is more board-connected. When Moneymaker makes the call, his range keeps all the pocket pairs and suited connectors that play well on dynamic textures.
What you got, Chris?
What's that?
What you playing?
1.5.
This is a board that heavily favors Moneymaker's calling range. He can realistically have straights, sets, and strong-suited connectors. Oliver, by contrast, doesn't connect as often. His 3-bet range is weighted toward big pairs and overcards. Moneymaker checks first, which is standard, and Oliver wisely checks back. Bluffing ace-king here would just burn chips because UTG simply has too much coverage on this texture. The paired 10 is interesting. On the surface, it should help Oliver, because as the 3-better, he can credibly represent trip 10s or even full houses. But in practice, Moneymaker still holds more straights and continues to own range advantage. When Moneymaker now leads 170K, it's a smart choice. He denies equity to ace-highs and clubs, and he's telling a believable story of strength. Oliver makes the call with ace-king, but this is a thin float.
Ace-king looks pretty pre-flop, but on this turn, it's ugly enough to give Freddy Krueger nightmares.
The river completes everything, straights, flushes, full houses. Moneymaker checks, which is a clever trap. After leading the turn, this invites Oliver to take a stab. Oliver obliges, betting 200K, trying to represent the very monsters that just got there. But here's the problem. After checking the flop, his line doesn't realistically contain full houses, and without a club, ace-king is one of the worst bluff candidates.
Are you gonna show me if I fold?
Anytime you ask, I'll show you. Chris, Moneymaker.
Moneymaker sees right through it and springs the trap with a check raise to 450K. Oliver can't credibly continue.
And Chris Oliver forced to fold ace-high.
Nozaki takes the most profitable path out of position, a squeeze to 56K. The size is on point, big enough to deny set mine pricing, small enough to keep worse pairs and broadways attached. Garcia's call continues a wide UTG range that wants to realize position. Drinan comes along because he's deep, in position, and one 5-to-1 set rolls off often enough to justify the peel.
Well, there's a 9 and a 4 set over set sickness.
On the flop, range meets board in a dangerous way. Nozaki has the top of everything. Top set and C-bets, just 63K. That sizing is perfect here. It prices out the pure air, charges the spade draws and gutters, and crucially leaves room for worse to continue or bluff raise. Garcia picks up an inside straight draw plus backdoor diamonds, calling pressures. Nozaki's ace-highs without overcommitting. Drinan, with bottom set, chooses the flat rather than the raise. Multi-way, raising folds the bluffs and isolates him against overpairs with a spade or the 2 higher sets that beats him. Calling keeps Nozaki firing and lets Garcia continue with dominated draws. The turn is a total brick. Nozaki checks. A trap that leverages his stack to pot, 255K behind, sets up a clean check jam over any stab. Garcia obliges for 157K, representing big spades, overpairs, and the occasional slow-played set while using his equity to pressure-capped 1 pair. Drinan's call with a set is the KG pot control line in position. It keeps Garcia's bluffs in and invites Nozaki to make a mistake. Instead, Nozaki springs the trap.
I'm holding.
The pricing is brutal. Garcia needs 98K more into a mountain and can't release a straight draw. Drinan is never folding a set for that price. Both call, and Nozaki has them drawing thin to redraws and counterfeit outs. The front door spade misses and the board pairs again. With Nozaki all in and the side pot being non-existent, Garcia and Drinan check it down, not willing to risk any more on this already insane hand.
2 pair.
Yeah, lucky day.
At least he gets that this is not common.
Lunkin is looking down on pocket sixes. Pre-flop, this is a classic slow-played trap setting itself up. Mike opens under the gun with king-queen offsuit, which is completely standard at these stack depths. It is a strong Broadway hand, dominates a lot of the calling range, and plays very cleanly post-flop. In the small blind, Lunkin just calls with pocket sixes. That flat looks harmless, but it is already dangerous for Mike. Small and medium pairs love to see flops, especially against an early position raiser whose range is heavy on big cards. O'Dwyer completes in the big blind with King-Jack, getting a great price in closing the action. The flop comes paired rainbow. It is one of those rare boards where everyone hits something but one player is hiding a huge hand. Mike absolutely smashes it with trip queens and top kicker. Against two blinds who defended and checked to him, his continuation bet for 250,000 is automatic. He gets value from worse queens, pocket pairs, and random floats, while also denying equity from overcards and backdoor draws. What he does not know is that Lunkin has flopped a full house. After checking, Lunkin now springs the first part of the trap and raises to 750,000. That raise is doing two jobs at once. It builds a pot with a monster, and it tells a story of a semi-bluff or a weaker queen, not the very top of range. O'Dwyer correctly gets out of the way with King-Jack, but Mike is in a very tough spot. Folding trip queens with top kicker to a single raise on this texture is almost impossible. The turn is the 8 of spades, a complete brick for the core battle between these two ranges. The paired queen and the 6 still matter most, and any aggressive action now is heavily weighted toward value. Lunkin leads for 1 million into a pot that is already swollen, and that sizing is perfect. It is big enough to put serious pressure on Mike's medium-strength hands.
He shoves.
I call.
Close enough.
Mike McDonald drawing thin.
Did he say 6 or sucks?
He needs a king, queen, or 8. He's got 6 outs. The river card. It's the case 6!
He should have said queen.
Katz is holding 7-4 suited. Pre-flop, this heads-up pot begins exactly the way high-level players expect it to. Katz opens the small blind with 7-4 suited, raising to 240,000. In a full-ring game, that hand is usually folded, but heads up, ranges widen dramatically. The flop comes, and on the surface it feels like Bonomo has won the lottery. He checks to the razor, which fits normal strategy. Katz is expected to continuation bet frequently. Katz, however, has hit something better. With his 7, he has essentially the nuts, unless Bonomo draws another ace, and if by any miracle another 7 comes, it will be the perfect opportunity to trap Bonomo. By checking, Katz keeps his range looking capped and gives Bonomo full freedom to start telling a value story on later streets. The turn is the 5, which changes very little for the core battle between the two ranges. Draws do not really improve in a meaningful way. The board is still defined by the ace and the 7s. Now Bonomo steps out with a bet of 275,000. From his point of view, this is a natural value bet and protection play. Katz just calls. Raising the turn would advertise real strength on a board that is already hard to bluff. The river brings the final 7, putting quads on the board. This is where the hand becomes psychologically difficult for Bonomo. From his seat, he now has a full house, aces full of 7s. In a vacuum that is extremely strong, and it is easy to assume that the opponent rarely shows up with the one remaining 7 that beats it. He bets 400,000 into roughly 1.1 million, a sizing that looks like thin value targeting weaker aces and maybe stubborn pocket pairs. It is not overly large, which helps encourage crying calls and, crucially, can tempt an aggressive player into turning something into a bluff raise. Katz, holding the unique 7 that actually plays, now springs the final part of the trap. From his perspective, the line makes perfect sense. He checked the flop, flatted the turn, and now when the board pairs again, he applies maximum pressure.
Call.
Bonomo calls. And now, the amateur has the advantage in this heads-up battle.
Helppi is looking down at ace-king suited. Pre-flop, this is the classic Finland on Finland friendly fire set up as a quiet cooler. Helppi opens absolutely standard with stacks this deep. Sointila finds pocket aces in late position and 3 bets to 12,000, also totally routine. He wants value from all the big Broadway hands and pocket pairs that will hate folding pre-flop. Helppi just calls, which is fine and probably best. 4-betting turns his hand face up and lets Sointila play perfectly. Flatting keeps Sointila's entire 3-bet range in, disguises the suited monster, and sets up a lot of future boards where Helppi can either represent big strength or actually have it. The flop comes a dream and a nightmare at the same time. Helppi's check is really good. His hand doesn't need protection, and he wants to give Sointila every chance to c-bet with overpairs or bluffs. The turn only makes things worse for aces. Helppi is still sitting on the stone nuts and checks again, continuing with his failed attempt to trap. Sointula's second check is basically him resigning to showdown mode. He beats all the bluffs but is drawing dead versus any club. Helppi finally reaches for chips and chooses 6,000. A classic please pay me sizing. It is small enough that aces without a club feel priced in, but big enough to matter. From Sointula's seat, this is actually a very foldable spot. He holds no club, the line never looks like a bluff, and Helppi's range has far more club combinations than his. But when you start the hand with aces, it is hard to hit the brakes on the river for such a small amount.
Free flop you have.
Doug Polk kicks things off with Jack-9 suited, a hand that can pop off real hard if the flop comes just right. Doug has already 3-bet his opponent raise, trying to portray strength. As he is calling, I am inclined to tell you that Owen, the guy with the pocket tens, is an amateur, and I think this is his first professional table. Imagine playing versus one of the biggest names in the game on your first table.
Doug hits 2 pair on this flop.
Owen's got some escape hatches, though, in the form of an 8 for a straight or, of course, a 10.
After the flop delivers a 2-pair for Doug Polk, I am starting to worry about our friend Owen here. He is indeed holding a good pair and has an open-ended straight flush draw, but Doug is currently holding the nuts and is looking to apply pressure with another $4,000 bet. Our amateur has a big decision to make, so he naturally takes his time, but ends up calling. I bet he is feeling the straight on the river.
How much do you have behind here? It's like 23, 43, 50? 50?
Oh my goodness.
Nice turn card for Owen. Not only does he have the straight, he's got straight flush redraw.
With the straight on the turn, Owen now takes 35 seconds to decide that he wants to bet more than half the pot for $10,000. But don't worry, I have sped it up for you.
Owen goes for a 2/3 pot bet. Sets up a nice sized river shove should he get called.
After the amateur bet, Doug's call was almost like a snap call compared to how long they're taking to decide this game.
Doug's not going to go anywhere. 2-pair just yet. And there's the straight flush.
Wow. All in.
Owen does go all in.
Really brutal.
Wow. Wow.
But if Owen taking so long to decide wasn't enough, Doug Polk contemplated the laws of the universe for a minute and a half before making his decision. But once again, I have sped up to his decision. Let's check it out.
Queen X of diamonds. I have so many hearts, though.
Doug is just trying to think of hands that he beats.
I don't like this one bit. I don't like this one bit.
Yeah, maybe Owen has king, queen of diamonds exactly.
Daniel Negreanu opens the action with ace-queen, one of those classic Broadway hands that works beautifully as a raise.
Come on, Daniel, every hand?
Yes, every hand.
Jeez.
Every hand till Saturday.
Saturday, he gets his highlights touched up.
But when Barbero calls with pocket deuces, he is entering the hand with a completely different script. Small pairs are not strong in isolation.
Guy Kenny.
Asham and Kenny call.
Here we go.
Got some of that loose cannon money.
For Negreanu, this looks like a board he can lean on. The paired deuce means there are fewer combinations of trips available, and with his pre-flop raise, he can credibly represent all the strong aces and overpairs. So he fires $3,000, aiming to pick up the pot uncontested or extract value from pairs below the ace. Barbero, though, is sitting on quads. If he raises here, he narrows Negreanu's range immediately to hands that can continue, and with quads, that is the last thing he wants. By just calling, he lets Negreanu's entire bluffing range stay alive, setting a trap that is as much psychological as mathematical. The turn brings the ace. This is where the hand shifts. For Negreanu, the ace is one of the best cards in the deck. His hand improves to top pair, top kicker, and it strengthens the story he's been telling since pre-flop. But this same card is a gift to Barbero. Now Negreanu is less likely to slow down, more likely to stack off, and completely unaware he is drawing dead. Negreanu checks, perhaps to control the size of the pot, but Barbero is not letting this street pass by. He bets $9,200. A number that looks perfectly believable as a value bet with a medium ace or even a stubborn pocket pair. Negreanu calls, convinced he is still far ahead of the likely range. Negreanu checks again, expecting Barbero to take a stab. Barbero obliges with $20,000, a sizing that pressures Negreanu's entire calling range but still looks callable with top pair. From Negreanu's seat, folding feels impossible.
I'm thinking like 6s or 7s. Sixes or 7s are good for me. I had you on ace-4, unfortunately, on the turn. So if you had ace-4, then you just made a straight. Huh.
Drop the stakes you play at in the comments and whether you're an online grinder or live game player. Let's see if we're running with high rollers or micro warriors.
God, I don't like that river. Such a good river for you. If you put me on jacks, right? You figure I have jacks, you have to bet that river card now. So many, I leveled myself with the pause in the turn. You know what I mean? On the turn, I studied, and like sort of changed my range in his eyes, which forces me to go like that.
Daniel calls.
I had the nuts.
Oh, that's good too. Quads!